So the next thing I'm going to be making for meat production at home, I'm going to get set up to do coturnix quail. And the first thing I'm going to need is going to be a brooder. Now, I've already ordered a little giant incubator with the quail rails. I already have my waterers on the way and my chick feeders. And I decided I want to build my own brooder and my own hutches. So to do that, I was able to come up with hardware cloth, 1/4 inch, 23 gauge, 16 inches long, and I got 25 feet of it. And I'm going to be building a variation of a self-cleaning brooder because I'm currently brooding some golden 300 ducks, and I am really sick and tired already of having to clean out the wood chips and the wood shavings every single day because they splash so much water on it, they poop so much on it. I started doing the research, and a self-cleaning brooder using hardware cloth really seems to be the way to go, and especially because it's going to keep the smell down. So I'm going to use hardware cloth for my flooring, and I'm going to start out. I've got some 1.5 by 1.5. This is actually 2x4 material that I have that's pretty junky, so I just ripped it down into usable boards. I got 2 pieces here that are 16 inches long, 2 pieces here that are 27 inches long, and I'm going to be suspending the wire across all of it. And it's going to be 30 inches long and 16 inches wide. I'm actually going to build 2 of these frames. They're going to sit side by side to build out the brooder because with the little giant incubator that I've got, I should be able to hatch out 120 eggs at a time. I don't know if I'm going to need that many, but I'm going to start out with an order from My Shire Farms. I'm going to be buying the Jumbo Wild colors, and I'm probably going to be ordering 60 eggs for my initial setup. So I want a good sized brooder, just in case later on, maybe I will want to do 120 eggs in a single batch. I want to have one brooder that's going to be able to do all of those. And then later on down the road, I'll probably be able to use the same brooder for doing my ducklings. So got my pieces all cut here. I have pre-drilled them with a 5/32 drill bit. I have on hand 2.5 inch drywall screws, which is going to be what's putting the corners together. And I'll be using some tight bond 2 because I do want a little bit of water resistance. I want this brooder to be easily cleanable. It's one of the reasons I went with the galvanized wire. And once I have this all framed together, I'm going to have my wife paint it so that it's nice and easily cleanable so that all the poop could just be washed off. So I'm going to go ahead and get these corners glued up real quick, and then I'll build a second frame, and we'll come back and see how I randomly decide to build out the rest of the system. I got one of my frames here and got it all glued up, waited for the glue to dry. Now I've got my hardware cloth, and I was only able to find this 1/4 inch hardware cloth in a 16-inch roll. Is the only reason I'm building the frames this size. If I could have found this in a 3-foot roll, it would have been pretty nice. But my idea, these edges back here are going to be covered up by the interior walls. So what I'm going to do, I've got a standard arrow, and there goes the entire roll. That'll happen a lot when you're working with wire. Got a standard Arrow T50 stapler, and currently I've got some 1/2 inch staples in it. I do have some 9/16 staples that if I have to resort to, if this wood's too hard, because like I said, this is scrap old lumber. So what I'm going to do is come down into the bottom corner and tack this corner in place with a staple, and it looks like I'll have to hit those down, and I'm going to square it up on both sides. Now I'm going to go through and tack this edge, and then I'm going to go to the other end with a flathead screwdriver and actually tension this thing. I'll put the screwdriver through the wire against the frame board over there and pull it tight, and then tack it down, and I'll trim off the excess. Once I have both ends tacked down, then I'm going to go through the sides and tension them as best I can, because I want this floor to not have all of this give in it. I want the birds to be able to walk across this no problem. Okay, I got my wires stretched out on both of the frames. Now, because this isn't a continuous, 30-inch wide roll, I've got 2 lips of the wire here. Now, I'm really going with this design because it's self-cleaning, but I know that we do have issues with quail getting splay legs, so they need to have a firm walking surface. So for the first week and a half, I'll have blue Scott's shop towels on here so they've got a good surface to walk on. But in the process of that, because this isn't a full-length piece, I have this lip of material on both sides. So these two frames are going to get screwed together, and I'm going to take what effectively is a piece of lath and cover up that joint so that there's no abrupt edges that they'll catch their feet on. So I'm going to go ahead and get these screwed together and get this screwed down on here, and then we'll have the complete floor and we can go from there. So from this point, I've just built some 13-inch walls that sit around the bottom of the frame, and it's all the way to the outside. Now for the moment, it's just tacked with 3 screws to hold each one of the walls in place, and that's while I'm building this corner post, which is actually what's going to make the corner meet up. And I've got it overlapped, and this will have 3 screws in it. And the reason I'm going to do that is that I do not like this cut edge of the wire down here being exposed. Now I know it's really not a risk for a chick to get, you know, all the way up against the wall and get a foot caught in there, but I'm going to lay a board same as this, lengthwise and all the way around. So the whole wall system will have a frame structure, and then should I ever need to do any maintenance or any cleaning, 3 screws on each side and the whole wall assembly pops off. I can do any maintenance on the floor, on the wiring, any cleaning, anything like that. So I got 2 more of these corner posts to put in, and then the bottom bars, and we'll be back in a minute. All right, so there's the other 2 corners put in. Got the rest of the bars put around the bottom. Notice, looks kind of shiny on the bottom. So I built this little H stand here. Got 2 of them. Those are going to be the acting legs. And I had a random sheet of aluminum that I screwed some, what was that, 3/4 by 1.5 whitewood scraps. That will be the droppings tray. Just slide in and out. Catch all the droppings. That'll be emptied about once a day. Fits pretty nice. It's got, you know, a little bit of breathing room underneath there. If I wanted to, I can throw down some pine shavings on there to absorb some of it, and that'll keep the smell down. And the last thing I need to do is whip up a lid, and all I'm going to do with that is just a some rip down 2x4 material, build a frame that goes all the way around the top, and that'll get some 1/2-inch hardware cloth, and then it's just going to be a set-on lid. If it gets cold at night, I can build a plywood cover for this, not a big deal, but the heat lamp will be able to sit right on the wire, and then I can, you know, as the birds are getting older, they don't need the heat as much. I can move the heat lamp over to a corner so that they've got plenty of room to wander around it and not get too hot. So there, I got that little top frame built up, single screw, wood glued the corners, same thing as the floor. Well, 1/2-inch hardware cloth up here, 1/4 inch on the bottom. And I just had some PVC coated, so that's what I used. Stapled it around the outside edge. So, a little sanding to get rid of this mold that's on the plywood, so it's cleaned up, ready for paint. This thing will be ready for some chicks real soon.